Hello, everybody, and welcome to Skyrim 10 AD, ASAPodcasting's D&D adventure in Skyrim. It has been 10 years since Alduin the World Eater has been defeated at the hands of the Dragonborn. But it is not his tale we are here to tell. Join us as new adventurers take up the challenge of conquering the frozen north. And tonight, we shall have our players introduce themselves in the order of the age of when they got their first job. So, how old were you when you got your first job, if you think you're the youngest?
IRL, because Jaquai hasn't had a job yet.
In IRL, we will go with.
I was 17.
15.
Well, it depends what you count on as a real job, because I was mowing lawns around the neighborhood at like 11 or 12.
I'll go with that. That definitely counts. I was delivering papers at was it 13, 14, I think?
Yeah. Needed some of that hot cassette money. You know?
Yeah. Right, said Fred and Michael Jackson. Yep. So, Bati.
Bati is a newcomer to the land of Skyrim, freshly over the border with her new found friend, Luke. She loves Luke to death. Sort of almost like a big brother, little sister type relationship. Under his wing, she has come across the border and met their next friend. But Bati always has an eye for skepticism. Always a little bit quick to the witty comeback more than the thoughtful smoothing of tensions, maybe sometimes. So she's a little quick with the words, but she's always very reliable in a sticky situation. A bard through and through. She loves to follow the story of the Dragonborn, and she's very excited that we have just come to a city where the Dragonborn has actually or might currently live. So she's interested to find some information about that. But a bard collecting stories through and through, and would love to help tell the tale of her fellow companion travelers.
Awesome. Thank you, buddy. And next up, we have Luke, I believe.
Yeah, I think 15 was the next lowest number I heard. So yeah, this is Pat here, playing Luke Icewalker, who, as Andrew indicated in Body's introduction, came to grow quite fond of Body when she was spending some time at a nearby inn. He Luke is a Nord by race, but has never before this trip visited Skyrim. He's lived in Cyrodiil his whole life, where his parents fled some of the early Stormcloak troubles that were beginning to occur around the border, so they fled to Cyrodiil. He spent his whole years there. After some difficulties that sort of rocked his late teen personal life, he decided to retreat to a monastery of Kinnerath, where he spent his entire adult life. Is very faithful. Never really expected to leave it until just a few weeks ago. He was given a vision by Kyne herself to visit Skyrim and to take a guide once he got there, and that's. He wanted company. He took Body along, knowing that she would enjoy the visiting Skyrim and learning of the Dragonborn firsthand. And since then, it's been legendary.
Awesome. Thank you, Luke. And next I believe, from what I heard, was Young Mouse next.
Well, Mouse, otherwise known as Septimus Vulpin, Imperial born, but orphaned and raised in Skyrim by his aunt, near Whiterun, to the north of Whiterun, in the area known as Helyarkin. But sadly, his aunt was killed in a raid when he was 14, and he kind of lived on the streets and by his wits after that. And now, around 24, he's decided to offer his services as a guide. He's been all over Skyrim, or much of it anyway, and happened to meet the crew at the inn in Falkreath and offered his services, which were accepted. And he's really enjoyed his time with them. He's a bit of he's a little foppish, but clever, and has a glint in his eye that sort of belies his occasionally irresponsible and feckless ways. And right now he is, as they entered Skyrim, he has put on his disguise, which consists of a pair of glasses with bushy eyebrows and a nose. And so he doesn't look quite as he did when they met him in the inn in Falkreath.
Amazing. And thank you, Septimus. And lastly, but not leastly, we have the Jaquai.
So Jaquai is a Khajiit monk, and his monastic tradition is known only by Luke at this point, because Luke recognized a medallion that he carries. He is on a mission given to him by his master to find his brother, Zinrindar. And he met up with Luke and Badi initially, as they came across him with getting his meal taken by a starving wolf, and he appreciated their assistance and has been following along with them ever since. He enjoyed his adventuring in Falkreath, but and was able to really put into live practice his arts to great effect, but became restless because he really wanted to go search for his brother, and so finally he was able to convince the party that we should move on to Whiterun, and so there's where we are.
Awesome. And thank you, Jaquai. And our regular players are joined this week by a very special guest. Well, two special guests, actually. Aris and Flair, please.
Hey, this is Adam. I'm playing the character of Aris. He is a Dunmer, member of the Dawn Guard, originally from Solstheim. After his family was killed by vampires, he made the journey to Skyrim and found the Dawn Guard and joined up with them. My dog Tyrael is playing his talkative Dawn Guard companion named Flair, and hopefully he'll be quiet today.
Well, not too quiet because we want to irritate Victor as much as possible. So
yeah.
So in the story so far, our intrepid gang finishing up in Falkreath Hold, leaving their somewhat heroes, or at least helpers of the hold, entered and crossed the border into Whiterun Hold, passing the Guardian Stones, where having a very close brush with his deity. Luke, after touching the Warrior Stone, had quite the experience of the Guardian Stones, where he was led to believe that his help was needed in even more so in Skyrim. Pressing on, they headed up through Riverwood, popping in for an ale or two, where they met a nice young carpenter and a mage and a nice raven, a nice raven. They carried on going, heading towards Whiterun Hold, where they ran into their new friend, Eris, or new friends, Eris and Flair. They it aided him in defeating a Dremora, seemingly Dremora knight, full decked out in heavy armor, wielding a great sword. After defeating this, they shared some information that Jaquai was looking for his Khajiit brother, and Eris was also looking for a Khajiit, a female Khajiit, by the name of Anuzra. But upon entering the city, they managed to spy Anuzra galloping across the rooftops of the shopping district in Whiterun. After a little impromptu standoff with the companions, Anuzra got taken away and sent to prison. Eris, having been sent here to try and retrieve Anuzra to bring her back to Fort Dawnguard, sought to enter into the dungeons to speak to her. Upon doing so, they entered in, and Anuzra relayed to them that she believes that the companions, all of them, or maybe some of them, are Daedra worshippers, namely the Daedra worshipper Hircine. And she wants to expose them to the rest of the Dawnguard so they can perhaps come up and expose them or attack them, defeat them, destroy them. And she seeks their aid in exposing it to gain the proof that she needs to prove that they are Daedra worshippers. After a couple of seconds, she made an offhand comment about her getting caught the previous time, claiming that she is no Zanrendar, a name that Mouse had heard before. And that's where we last left off. So, right now, I believe that Luke has just woken up and is still residing in the temple to Kinnereth, and Jaquai and Botti have left the inn and are taking a tour of the city, while Eris, Flair, and Mouse are in the dungeons in the cage after just offering to pay Cord the fine for Anuzra. This is where we pick up. So, Jaquai and Botti, what are you doing? What would you like to do? The city is yours. You have just been left by Mouse and Eris.
So Jaquai has finally gotten a little bit of peace and is back behind the shop, doing his exercises. So,
okay. And Botti, have you joined him?
Yeah, after purchasing my new fancy chainmail shirt, I decided to come around and start bothering him and to show it off.
You do it as you were told. You would they would send somebody to you as soon as the fitting was all done. Once they've altered it, because obviously it was in the shop already, but they had to alter it to make it obviously to fit your form, for your sizes, because you can't just find any old armor and then instantly be able to wear it. It has to be altered to shape to fit. So,
of course,
you were told to come about midday to head down to the shop, and they would come down for and give you your armor and fit it, make sure everything is all worked out. So, Luke, you more than likely woke up the next day in the Temple of Kinnereth. You got up, you're feeling a little bit light. You're not in your full armor at the moment. You just woken up. What would you like to do?
So, knowing that Mouse was up to something, but not knowing quite what it was last night, Luke wakes up with a little nagging worry, and hopes that all went okay with whatever Mouse was up to the previous evening. So, Luke will he'll wake up, do a little devotional prayer as is normal. He'll scrounge a quick bite that he can take on the run, a slab of bread and cheese or whatever he can scrounge in the kitchen of the temple, and he'll strike out into the city. But I think probably I would say unarmed, and unarmored. He feels safe leaving his equipment in the initiate room of the temple, and he'll walk through the. He'll walk. I think he'll actually walk down the hill and check out some of the other fresh food available in the carts, keeping an ear opening for whether there was any commotion in the town prior.
Fair enough. Awesome.
Hopefully not. The this morning.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch that. You broke up slightly.
So sorry about that. No, he'll after he'll go down the. He'll go down the hill to the little market at the bottom of the steps and keep an ear out for any news. Hopefully, there has been no commotion or problems in the city overnight. Hopefully, Mouse stayed out of trouble. In other words.
Yeah, you haven't said anything, and the guards seem to be in the usual places. You look at the opposite side. There's you remember the apothecary, and you see the shop that. All the rest of your party went into yesterday, and there's a guard in between those two, and you see a young Imperial woman with another younger Imperial woman at the food cart to your right. They look very similar to each other. And to your left, there's a wood elf at a meat stall, and then to the left of that, there's what seems to be a very elderly-looking Nord woman. Seems kind of frail, and next to her, talking to her, is a Dunmer, a female Dunmer, in very exquisitely made leather armor, with long black hair, quite beautiful, and she's talking to the old lady on the left.
Okay. So I will let those two continue their conversation. I'll step up to the mother-daughter pair who look alike, and I'll see what they have for sale, see if they've got some apples or for other fresh fruit or anything available for sale to complete my breakfast.
Yeah, it's no bother. It costs like a couple of copper, and
yeah, I'll buy 3 apples, and let's see. I'm trying to remember. Is there anyone selling meat or fish at that, or is there a meat or fish stand?
There is a meat, but there is no fish. You look to your right, and there's if you're looking at the stalls, looking at the steps that you already came down, to your right there is a meat stall. It seems to be mostly elk, mostly venison. That's on display.
I'll buy a cheap cut of venison, mostly bone with a little meat on it, in the assumption that I'll see Flair later, sometime later in the morning, and I'll thank them for their business, thank them for their custom, and I'll walk down towards, because I believe I heard Jaquai and Body plotting to go work out at the field behind Warbaden. So I'll go down there and see if Jaquai and Body are down there exercising.
Perfect. So,
Exercise. Body's catching a smoke out back. Well,
Oh, actually, one thing I did want to. The other thing that was sort of the talk of the last couple of episodes was these games that are being held in town. I believe it's with Windhold. Is that the other city
with Windhelm.
Windhelm, yeah. So I'll ask as I'm putting my apples in my bag and about to chomp into my one apple for myself, I'll ask the two women. So what are these games that are going on here? Is that something that the townsfolk turn out to watch, or do they only the participants show up?
Mostly a lot of people come to see if it's an interesting game, but we were mostly considering it's going to be a lot of trouble. This is the older woman. She goes with the Windhelm coming with guards. I can't understand the Jarl's purpose in inviting me here is stay. She goes, I definitely wouldn't go to see it, and I don't think half the people in the city went to go and see them. The savages from Windhelm.
So is it the Whiterun guards that are competing, or do other people from Whiterun also compete?
Oh, that's who they were playing against. It was the Whiterun guards against the Windhelm guards. But yeah, it's usually they're not professional or anything. It was just supposed to be a goodwill thing, sort of like liven up the city. But nobody was really interested. But if you wanted the more serious players, then you would definitely be looking at speaking to the companions. Anybody who has come up against them have lost. Apparently, they have never lost a game, either here or away. So, if you know any teams or anybody who's looking to challenge somebody to a game of Sea Stone, then the companions are the team to beat.
Ah, fascinating. So, and I assume when she's given how close we are to Yorvasker, I assume she sort of casts her eyes over at the Yorvasker as this conversation, just to confirm that that's who indeed she's talking about with the companions.
Yes.
I'll thank her for the conversation and be about my way.
Good day.
Good day.
And you head off. So, after that little introduction, Eris and Mouse, you are currently in the Whiterun jail, and Cord has just left you. Said he's going to get started on the paperwork to have Anuzra released after Eris had offered to pay the 10 gold fine to have her released. So Anuzra is standing there, and she has just said, I am no... I can get in there. And she goes, I may have got caught before, but I am no Zenrandar, but this time I believe I can make it. With your help, with this good distraction.
Think we can help do that?
Well, Mouse certainly perks up at hearing that name. How long will it take the paperwork to be processed to get Anuzra released?
Yeah. No more than a couple of minutes. He probably just has to go over and get the ledger, start signing her name out. This Cord fella seemed pretty high up. You seen that it looks like he's more in charge of others, especially seeing as when you approached Dragon's Reach, you spoke to that guard outside Dragon's Reach, and he went and got Cord. So it looks like he seems to have some pull in the city. So it probably just he can have her released by him taking the money. So it probably will only be a couple of minutes.
All right. Well then, Eris, what are you going to do once you have custody of Anuzra?
I guess that's mostly up to her. I want to hear what her plans are of getting in to Jorvasker and see how we can be of assistance.
In that case, I need to speak with Luke briefly. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to run to find him, and we will meet you back at the Bannered Mare, perhaps, with Anuzra.
All right, sounds good.
All right. So, Mouse is going to saunter to the door, open the door, close it behind him, and then run like hell to try to find Luke.
Okay. So, you've left the Eris. It's just you and Anuzra inside, and she goes, "Oh, who are these? I seen you with them yesterday. Do you think we can trust them? What if they go and tell the guards? You see how he left? There's something wrong. He's going to tell them. I know he is.
I do trust them. They're a group of traveling adventurers that I met up with just outside of the city, and they saved my life.
Saved you from what?
From a Dremora.
Exactly. It was something that was going to kill them just as well as you. He goes, they are not on God. They care about laws and what people say, what people are allowed to do. They are not God. They don't know dangers and and danger worshippers and vampires. He goes, you know what we have to do, even if it's somebody who has never killed anyone or isn't good with the law or has worked for the Jarls. If they're evil, if they're vampire, if they're Daedra, we kill them, we get rid of them. And this is what these companions are. They are Daedra worshippers, and once we get the proof, we have to come and we have to destroy them.
You mean after we get back to the Dawn Guard? It's going to be up to Isran what he wants to do. The companions have been close allies with the Dawn Guard for many years.
But they don't know this. If they knew this, if he thrust, he might have worked with that fleet when this all started happening. But I know Ithran's heart. I know a monster when I see one, and he knows monsters when he sees one. And once he finds out what kind of monsters these are, he will want them butchered.
I agree. It's important that he be notified, that he knows what's going on here.
Right.
But we do need some proof.
Yes. But I don't think they're not going to trust me again. They're, anything that I go to them with, I don't know what to do. You say we can trust them, but I do not know. Where is let me out? She starts banging on the gate, and sure, a couple of minutes later, and Cord starts returning, and you see him walk through the door. As he starts head on, he seems to have this reasonable sized wooden box with him. He was coming through at a reasonable pace, but now he seems to have slowed down after she started rapping on the thing. But he starts walking over to her, and as he gets closer to you, he opens up the box, and there seems to be, loads of coppers and a couple of silvers and things like that in the box. And he goes, "All right," and he goes, 10 gold. I've already scratched her off, and the ledger's out by the door. On your way out, you have to sign it and put your Dawn Guard mark on it that you've taken. All right.
Okay.
And he looks over to Nuzra and he goes, "You were treated quite well by the companions, and seeing as you've lost their trust, you've lost our trust." And he goes, "You do best to leave the city as quickly as possible." He goes, "Otherwise, all eyes are going to be on you." And then he takes one look at you, and closes the box and turns around and starts heading back towards the door. He unlocks the gate and lets Anuzura out and starts heading it. So you guys start slowly heading out, and as you're on the way to the exit, you see this rather large ledger, and Cord sort of like points towards, and you have to sign your name and put your Dawn Guard mark on it.
Okay.
So, what do you write?
Write my name, Eris Sandaris, and I don't know what my Dawn Guard mark is.
I know, I just made it up. So, we'll whatever you want. Just put
some kind of insignia that I stamp.
Claire wants to be in the ledger too. I can tell you.
Yeah, he puts a paw print.
Amazing. Right, thank you guys. And Mouse, you have just exited and very hurriedly left the dungeons. As you're coming out, you're rounding that small little pond type thing that you can't understand the reason for. As you walk around the front of your Vaska, the skeleton's still floating down at the bottom of it, and you run around to the stairs. But as you come up behind the two guards, they're standing watch at the steps. You kind of like slow down and then sort of like trot your way down the steps. So, where do you go?
Well, I'm going to head down into the marketplace and see if I can find somebody who's seen a tall Nord named Luke. I guess I'll ask the little old lady who seems to have her eyes darting around everywhere, who I know is Freya.
Very great, mate. Yeah. So, as you come up to it, the Freya Greymane is talking with a rather attractive Dunmer woman. Black hair, slicked back, with war paint coming from the sides of her eyes down to the tops of her cheeks. It's sort of like a red and grey mix of war paint, very fashionably done.
Yes, Mouse immediately adopts a bit of a swagger as he gets closer and nods and says hello with an arched eyebrow to the lovely Dunmer warrior. Does he know her? I can guess who she is, but does Mouse know her?
Roll a history check.
Let's see, I don't have any, just a 16.
16, yeah, definitely Mouse would have known it. She's
So this is Janasa, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
You with this 16, you also know that she is Freya Greymane's daughter-in-law.
Oh. What happened to Olfina? Oh wait, no, Olfina was it? Yeah, never mind.
Well, fully great is grow fully great.
I get those Battleborns.
She is the wife of Orvalstein. Sorry, I'm trying to think if I've got the names right.
Orvalstein and Torald, right? That's the other one.
Yeah. So it's it was the one who went on the rescue.
Torald went to rescue Orvalstein.
Right. So it was Thorold.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was Thorold. She went with him.
Yes. Well, she was certainly very impressed with Thorold in many of my playthroughs. Yeah, I can understand that. And so anyway, Mouse nods and greets Janasa by name then, and then turns to Freya and says, "Have you seen a tall, handsome Nord priest of Kinnereth today?"
There's when you get to my age, there's lots of young, handsome men walking around.
Well, this is a priest of Kinnereth.
No, but if you mean a stranger, there was one here earlier. went to every stall but mine, and he just he headed down that way, towards the Smiths, the young competition.
Thank you, Freya. And Mouse trots off in the direction of War Maidens, and I assume he will find the rest of the party down there.
Yeah, you probably hear some strumming of a lute, or maybe the playing of a flute of some type, and some smoke coming out from the back. The smell of a suspicious herb coming from the back of of War Maidens, and
Smoking hanging moss again, huh?
Yeah. You see Bhatti sitting down, leaning back, sort of like on a particular instrument. I'll let Bhatti choose which. And you see Luke with his head tilted, looking at all the positions that Jaquai seems to be able to get himself in, and wondering how the hell a humanoid can bend that way.
Yeah. Luke, and also Mouse is going to look over at Jaquai and try to catch his eye and motion him over where they are, and hopefully he does.
Yep.
So fine. Body was making it impossible to concentrate anyway.
Listen quickly. Anuzra knows of your brother, Jaquai. We need to get back up there and find her quickly.
The Khajiit from yesterday?
Yes, she mentioned his name.
Okay, let's go.
But we need to be careful. She's very, very skittish. So don't accost her, or she'll probably bolt. And I don't think she trusts anybody, even Eris.
Well, if she'll cooperate with me, I'll be fine. But if it requires me to pin her to the ground and bend her into shape she's not expecting,
I'll
do that.
I think even you might regret that, Jaquai.
Okay. Well, let's see if she's willing to cooperate.
Well, I said I'd meet them at the Bannered Mare, so...
Mouse, might a smaller group of people be less concerning to this individual?
Perhaps you and I, since Jaquai already asked her, if I remember correctly, at least.
You remember that he didn't say anything to her. He just shouted the name while she was engaged in.
Right. Yeah.
Was it in a face-off with Ayla? We
assume she heard that, however.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we should all go, but perhaps not all as a full.
That's agreed.
Yeah.
Why don't is Eris going to bring her to the Bannered Mare?
I can only hope. I said I'd meet them there. They have to come down.
Why don't Body get a move on? Come here. Body and I will go ahead and you've just left the hold, correct?
Yes, they'd have to come down the stairs towards the central market, or they could try to cut around behind if so perhaps Jaquai and I can walk up the alternate stairs and around past the Hall of the Dead on the way towards, just to make sure they're not sneaking off in that direction.
Okay. Body, come on.
All right. Well,
Knowing the Body has a tendency to move a little slow when she's been partaking, especially this early in the morning. Body, come along. I'll buy you a mead.
And the real reason that Jaquai was so annoyed is because the instrument of choice Body picked up this morning was a really long blade of grass, and was doing that thing where you stick it between your thumbs. And just like hum and whistle the blade of grass.
I bet that really goes right through a cat's ears too. That high pitched. Ooh, that can't.
I need a performance check on that, please. How much it distracted him, please.
She really thought that she was helping. So
with disadvantage.
okay, let me see. Performance is charisma. Of all right, 17. All right, let's see what we got here. D20. Oh God, a 3. I was playing it very well for you. Yeah.
Ooh. Ouch.
Yeah, she couldn't get a
I've got 18 to resist.
Yeah, so you might be doing like slightly less damage for the next couple of weeks because your forms have kind of been shaken. You don't lock your elbows quite as much.
Okay, so Buddy and I will not run. We won't break into an outright run, but we'll do a quick step up the main. So we'll go up the main street and just go right up the front, keeping our eye open for Eris. And since his companions will be fighting like cats and dogs, since he's got one of each, it'll be easy to spot him.
Yeah, you think that the best way is to because you're just so if you're looking at the Smiths, you just went down to the left hand side of the Smiths and out to the back area near the wall there, and that's where you were practicing. And you think that the quickest way to be able to go is to turn right, go round the back of the Smiths, and come on behind the smelter back onto the main road, and walk up that way.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. Yeah,
and that's the direction that all of you go. That's the way all of you.
Oh, I thought Mouse and Jaquai were going to go the alternate route.
Yep, they're going to go to where the front gate is and then turn left and walk around that way by the Hall of the Dead.
Okay, got it.
But all of you think that the quickest way to get back onto the main street that goes through is to go around the back of the Smiths, go around to the other side behind the smelter and out through that way to join onto the main road just in front of the front gate.
Got it. Yep. And then Buddy and I will especially as the ones who don't know the city as well, we'll just walk up the main drag where it's where the sort of the obvious route and just walk right in the front door, keeping quick time but not breaking into a run.
And as you're walking up the main street, it's you really like the look of the of that I've forgotten the name of it again. The building on the left-hand side of the road. Victor, what's the name of that pub?
Drunken Huntsman?
The Drunken Huntsman. Thank you. And you walk up and the Drunken Huntsman there and you have a look at I've got some really nice architecture. Is a great roof, and you carry up and then head up afterwards into the center area and into the Bannered Mare, while Jaquai and Mouse head off there at the left hand side and up through the residential area on towards the Hall of the Dead. So Eris and Anuzra, you come out of the jail of Whiterun Jail, just up near Dragon's Reach, and start to head down. And Anuzra goes, "What are these people like? Who are you traveling? What do they do?"
Well, it's a pretty diverse group. There's a priest of Kinnereth, or not a priest, but a follower of Kinnereth, brave warrior, a bard that's somewhat talented every now and then, I guess. Then they're led by their guide Mouse, who you've met. And then we have a Khajiit with us who's been looking for his brother, who I believe you know, Zarindar.
What? The Khajiit from yesterday?
Yes, that's right.
I thought he was making fun of me. That is stupid. There's no way Zarindar has a brother. It's ridiculous.
It's his whole purpose here is looking for him. So you would be very glad.
No,
to
no
hear.
one would be stupid enough to walk around shouting Zenrandar in the street if he was actually knew him. That's stupid. They're lying to you. He is
Why do you
your
think
person.
that?
What do I think that? I need to. I think we might be in more trouble. And this why would he be here? Who does he work for? Is he trained? Do you know who trained him?
I do not know who trained him, but I have seen him fight, and he is proficient.
Does he run and hide, or does he? Can he produce flame? Does he use magics?
That I don't know. I've mostly seen him using his claws when he came to my aid.
This is very peculiar.
I think it could be good if you spoke with him. Why don't we head to the Bannered Mare and meet up with some members of the group, and you can decide for yourself.
I do not know. Roll a persuasion check.
That's charisma.
Yeah.
A 2.
Oh, snap.
No, wait. Let me see. Where's my... That's a 4. Yeah.
Okay. That makes all the difference.
Still doesn't help.
4, you say?
That tipped that scale.
Yeah.
I thought it might.
He goes, no. He goes, and you see, he goes, this is stupid. He goes, I remind you, you see he's looking for Zenrandar, right?
Yeah. Right. Any information you have would be great.
Yes, it would be. It's probably worth quite a lot. Right. Let us. Right, I think I know where I am. When it goes back. It is dangerous. He goes, do not speak of everything that we said inside there. He goes, just follow my lead, okay?
Okay.
Because we don't, then people are going to be dying by the hundreds thanks to these beasts. And she heads down and kind of strides as she's walking down towards down the steps and heading towards the center of the city, towards the Bannered Mare. So you two will have arrived at the Bannered Mare. Probably just as Botty and Luke is headed in. Luke, you're still not in your armor, are you? You're still dressed in your normal gear. And Botty, you're heading inside. 6. So you two are probably... how quick? Just a couple of minutes. Yeah, definitely you two got there first. So you probably would have head inside and you don't see anybody. But a Noozer probably will be coming down the steps. And no, she doesn't recognize you as you're heading into the thing. So, Eris, you and a Noozer head down the steps. And you roll a perception check, Eris.
12.
12. Yeah, you don't see them either. You're kind of Flair starts giving you like nipping at your heels, sort of like getting used to the new smell that's standing next to you. So he kind of distracts you, but you don't see anything. So Butty and Luke, you've just entered into the Bannered Mare. You don't see Eris or Flair or this Khajiit that you remember seeing from yesterday.
So I'm gonna grab Body and hustle her over to a table in sort of the back corner. We're not trying to actively hide, but also trying to sort of be somewhat nondescript. Just typical traveling patrons.
The only table that's without leaving the room, going into the very back room, the only table that's kind of in the corner off to the side would be the table that Botty, you saw Mouse sit down for a couple of minutes at last night. It's the one that you've seen him talking. He was sitting at and talking to Mikhail before Mikhail came over and started flirting with you. With the greatsword piece jammed into it.
I don't think we want anything that conspicuous. I'm trying to remember the layout. Is there a bar?
There is a bar, yeah. So it's
okay. If there's no sort of relatively corner type table or anything, we'll just head to sort of the corner of the bar farthest away from the entrance and just pull up a couple of stools.
Okay.
But, I guess
is that what you do?
Yes, I'll tag along.
I encourage Body. I'm after a few weeks on the road, I'm used to encouraging Body. Very gently but firmly. Let's go over here, and the quicker we get seated, the quicker we'll have a glass of mead in front of us.
Just short of grabbing me by the scruff.
Yes.
No, it's much more subtle than that. It's a little elbow thing,
So, Jaquai and Mouse, you start to circle around all the residential areas, and you sort of like Mouse, you sort of like keep an eye out. So as you, Jaquai, as you're sort around making sure that there's no, fleeing Khajiit trying to slither along the side of the walls or hopping across rooftop again. So the two of you both make perception checks as you're wandering around.
I've got 11.
Same here.
You come around and you don't see any Khajiit. You don't see Eris or Anuzra as they're heading down towards it. Looks like you might have just missed them. As you come around past the Hall of the Dead and then back towards the tree at the center in excuse me, opposite the thing. You look to your left and there doesn't seem to be anybody coming down the stairs. You look to the right and nobody heading towards the Bannered Mare, but there doesn't seem to be anything suspicious in the area. Excuse me.
So, are you saying we're behind them, or they've gotten ahead of us, and we enough that we don't see them? I'm a little confused.
Yeah, you're probably thinking that if they were still heading down from the what you would call it, the dungeon, or from the jail, you'd probably see them. But if they're not, then they're probably already in the Bannered Mare or just about to head in there now.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm suggest Jaquai, let's go down there and let me go in first and just stay out here for a minute or two and make sure that they don't go by. I'll see if they're inside.
Okay.
So Mouse is gonna.
I'll wait on the patio.
Mouse is gonna go into the Bannered Mare.
Okay. Which door?
I'll go in the front door.
Okay. So Eris and Anuzra, you enter into the Bannered Mare. You come in and you have a look around. You look to your right, Eris, and you see Botty and Luke sitting at the bar, both with their backs to you, sort of like Luke sort of like, just leaning over, saying a thing or two, and saying to Hulda, asking for a couple of meads, and they're just waiting for the drinks. Anusra has a quick look round. She's studying the people in, and and she's sort of like shoulder and with her elbow sort of like pushes into your side and sort of like nods towards Botty and Luke there at the bar. And she has a look around. She goes, it's not all of them, because we can't talk about this here. Maybe so she walks up to the bar and walks up to Hulda. She goes, good evening. Hi. Could we get somewhere a little like private? We're all friends and sort of like, we be a little rowdy and chatting and screaming and things like that. So can we use that room back there? I noticed that that there's a close-up back, but there doesn't seem to be anybody in there. Is that fine? And Hulda goes, yeah, you can close the door. She goes, do you want any drinks? You want me to bring anything to you, any food or anything like that? And she goes, oh, yes, prison food is disgusting. She goes, fish, lots of fish, and make sure you knock on the door. A couple of pieces of salmon and some milk, and yes, just at the back there. And any honey nut treats, boiled cream treats, sweet rolls, one of each, two of each, it doesn't matter. He's paying. And she walks off. And she points to you, Eris. and heads to the back room. Sort of like Hulda's there looking at you, sort of like kind of waiting for her money.
Okay, how much do I owe you?
For that, say 5 silver, please.
5 silver. Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Would you like anything? She's sitting kind of laughing. Would you like anything?
We're covered.
Okay. And you pass by, and as they were sitting there, Anusra did say hello to Luke and Bingy. As this is happening, as she's walking off, that's when you walk in the door, Mouse.
And do I see them, or do I see her walking towards the back?
Yeah, it's pretty. You're in there. You're looking for them, and she's walking off. So you don't need a perception check. You can definitely.
Okay, well, Mouse is going to then very, very quietly open the door and step back outside and go grab Jaquai and then quietly go in the other door by the patio there.
Okay. Jaquai, you head in and
Jaquai,
point.
they're in the back room.
Yeah, he points out that they're heading off to the back room. And you see Luke and Botty at the bar looking at you, and sort of like, seeing you come in, hearing the door go, you both look over and see him, Jaquai, walking.
So given that Anusra and Eris had that conversation, or Anusra had the conversation right there at the bar, right? Just from Hulda, is that right?
Yeah, right next to you.
So we obviously would have heard that. She wasn't making much of an effort to be subtle. So I'll look over at Mouse and Jaquai as they walk in and sort of motion them. I'll just give them a raised eyebrow just to come speak to us at the bar.
Okay.
And I'll just whisper, you're the Khajiit woman and the Dawn Guard are in the private room. They've ordered quite a lot of food. I think they're expecting all of us.
All right. Well,
no. Jaquai just goes straight into the room. So
yeah, I'll be right behind him. Mouse will be right behind him.
Body and I will bring up the rear if she's agreeable with our probably not yet empty tankards.
So as you get up, you start heading off, and as you enter in the back room, Jaquai, you look to your left there, and then sitting on the left by a round table. It's not very wide. It looks like it would have been a hallway or a storage room, but they've had some really tiny round tables in here and some small chairs, so it's just enough for a private room. But if anybody is like within 10 foot of the door, they're going to hear your conversation in here. So if you're going to start talking secretly, you might want to keep it down. To the left, sitting at the table, you've got Eris, and he's got Flair lying down on the floor next to him. And just to the right, on the opposite side of the small round table, is Anuzra. And she's she's just sitting there, legs kind of crossed just at the ankle, not across at the knee, just across at the ankle with the legs stretched out. And she nods her head as you walk in, and she welcomes you in Khajiit, in your own language.
So I respond and say, "So I understand you know my brother Zenren, and I understand you know him by a different name, one that my master and I were surprised to hear." Associated with my brother.
As you're saying this, the rest of your party starts following you in, and she looks at you. She goes, and who is your master? She goes, who am I talking to?
Jaquai, did you respond in Khajiit or in common or whatever?
I greeted her in Khajiit, but then I spoke in common language.
Yeah, so
okay.
She replied in common.
Okay, thank you.
And so I produce my medallion and show her the medallion.
She looks at it and she kind of like gives it like a faint smile and sort of like leans back, and you see her left hand disappear from behind, and then she produces another 2-inch coin. This one a lot brighter than yours. This one is made of a gemstone, not made of metal. It's made of amber, and it depicts where your one depicts 2 full moons, hers depicts 2 waning moons. Roll a history. Luke, you want to make? You'll have to make the perception check first.
Yeah. All right. So perception to see if I notice.
Yeah.
That's quite good. 21 on the perception check.
You definitely see it, and now both of you roll a history check.
All right, and that is +6. 19.
13 for me.
13. The DC was a lot higher for you, Pat, because you have no relation to it. It's only if you ran across it in studies. You don't recognize it. You know, you look at it and you know, oh, it's similar to his, so it's probably denotes only, but you have no idea where it comes from. Jaquai, you know some of it that you know. Actually, let me see. What did you get? Say 13.
13, yeah, because I've got a -1.
Okay. Because you would. This would be knowledge you would have as a member of your monastery. So, you know that this represents the Order of the Scorching Claw. This is kind of like a sister order to yours. It's just as respected as yours, but mainly it's was a wayward Khajiit that seem to have lost their way, and are kind of sent there to find their way to be kind of beaten into sort of following the rules. It's kind of a dysfunctional youth sent there, and then sort of kind of like a military school, and it's quite harsh. But the people there, the students there, usually end up following the path of the four elements, mainly concentrating in fire. So they seem to be able to use magics, and sort of they've been brought up with a master there called Rizahan. You know the name, but you don't know too much about the person. And it was sort of what's the name? She goes, and she looks back at you with a little smile. She goes, so, why is a Tail from the Whispering Fang looking for Xanamanda?
Zenrin is my brother. He dropped me off at the monastery when I was a very young boy. I haven't seen him since. But a courier came to the monastery asking my master for information about Zenrin Dar. My master was concerned and sent me to Skyrim to find him. And that has been my journey. I don't know anything about what my brother's been up to, what he's done, where he's at. I'm just here to try to find him on behest of my master.
See, excuse me. Actually, could get I forgot their name now. Anybody who wants to make a history check on the names of the Scorching Claw and the Whispering Fang can make a history check. I've seen if they recognize them. Let me see.
Mouse thinks they might have been in a comic book he read once. According to his role, anyway.
Colin, does the Scorching Claw give me a chance to re-roll? Since that's an additional fact.
Yeah, you can roll again.
Okay. Ooh, even better. 25 that time.
25. 25 is pretty much the information that you. It's the same. You know what.
Okay.
Jaquai knows.
Okay.
What did you get, Mouse?
4.
4. Okay. So as you're saying, the roll a persuasion check for me, please, Jaquai.
14.
Yes. Very peculiar. You see, brother. Well, he goes, I too know what it's like to lose family, and I know how desperate people can get to find them and to avenge them and to fight in their name. She goes, I understand, and I'll tell you now, I do not know much. It is not. I don't know where he is or what, but I know something. But we, and she sort of like she looks at you, so he goes, we need a little help, and the people of the city and the people of this country have been deceived, thinking that these companions are heroes, but they're not. They are just Daedra worshippers, And
Can I do an insight check on her with that statement?
sure, go for it.
Ooh, lousy. Just an 8.
Yeah, she seems, every time she says Daedra worshippers, you see her face contort, and there's definitely a hatred there. It kind of gets to you, Eris. Is Eris popped out? I think. Yeah, kind of gets to you, Eris, every time she mentions Daedra worshippers. Obviously, I mean, I'm not too sure about Eris's religious practices, but the Dunmer, like currently the tribunal, not the tribunal, the reclamations, who now are the sort of like, you know, the seen as to be the worship ones are all Daedra Plinches. It's Mephala, Azura, and Boethia are the ones that follow. I don't know what Eris's religious things are, but it's not uncommon for Dunmer to worship Daedra. And was it Botti? You would know that worshipping Daedra is sometimes there's ones that are considered, excuse me, good. Like Azura doesn't seem to be that half bad from what you've heard, and was it definitely Meridia is seen as probably one of the better ones, and you know that she despises undead, and you know that Luke as well. So yeah, she says because I need to prove that these people are nothing but Daedra worshippers, and they're a danger to people, not heroes. She goes, I need to get in to your Vaskar, and I need your help to do it. I need you to distract them while I get in there and find the proof I need to bring back to my people. And again, she hits Eris. So we can come here and wipe out the threat. Because please, it would take but a day's work. And I can finally have the proof I need, and I promise you, I will give you the information, but...
At this point, Mouse would like to just interrupt slightly and say, you know, everybody knows the legends and rumors about the companions, but there's this idea of them being Daedra worshippers. Where do you even get that idea? I mean, these people are some of they're the pillar of the history of Skyrim. And you talk about wiping them out. I think it's an outrageous statement.
Because what?
Why should
what would you know? Who are you? Who are you? Have you been inside your Vaskar?
I've lived in this country all my life, and yes, I have been inside your Vaskar, and yes, I have known companions.
Huh. You never look at somebody's face. Do not listen to this one, because I have been inside. I have seen the artifacts that they have.
Many people have artifacts.
Oh, and you think that people walking around with Daedric artifacts on them causes nobody any harm, huh? That somebody worshipping her scene, somebody who turns people into beasts so these beasts can roam the walls and tear families apart.
I'll keep my counsel on that. These people are considered heroes. I say again, you talk of wiping them out. You could bring all of Skyrim down on you.
And Mouse, it's not necessarily just her decision that it would be to take action like that. The leadership of the Dawn Guard is wise, and they may have some knowledge of these things already. But I do agree that we could help her out and help get some proof that she says exists, and make our way back to Fort Dawnguard and let the leadership decide.
Nuzera turns to you, Jaquai, and starts sort of like pointedly looking at you, Luke, and he goes, you really going to believe this Imperial over here? And he goes, these Daedra worshippers are evil. He goes, these are evil. And I'm sorry, but if you want your information, he goes, this is what I need. And unless you help me, I'm sorry, but no, I will not be sharing any information for any price. This is my price. This is what you have to pay. And she goes, and everybody wins if we take this and find it and the proof that we need. That there is no more of these evil beings walking around pretending they're heroes.
What makes you think all of the companions are Daedra worshippers? Maybe it's just a few of them. It's an ancient and honorable order. Why should we wipe out all the companions?
I am not talking to you.
No, but I am talking to you.
I have said my piece, and I leave the decision to you. And she looks at you, Jaquai, and sort of like sits back. And she picks up her coin and sort of like puts it away. And that's where we'll pick it back up in the next session. And we'll hear what Jaquai's decision and our party's decision on what they plan to do next. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this awesome episode of Skyrim 10 AD. They got really hot and juicy there right at the end. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Next time.
Skyrim 10 AD would like to thank Tabletop Audio for the use of their music in this podcast. If you would like to find more music like this, just go to tabletopaudio.com for more information. Thank you.
Thank you for downloading this edition of Skyrim 10 AD. Email the show at skyrim10ad@gmail.com. For more information, please visit asapodcasting.com, where you will find a Skyrim Addict podcast, the Fallout feed, and our Amazon link, which benefits the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Find our social media in the show notes. Thanks for listening.